So who are you before you are you? Quite a question, huh? Well, I'm going to answer that question in the Spiritual Secrets of Vedic Astrology course. This is going to tell you and explain to you really the concepts of non-duality and actually what is known as Dharma. And you might have heard the word Dharma before and think, oh, I know what Dharma is. It's one of the most misunderstood words, actually, because it's often, again, turned into some kind of we personalize it. What's my Dharma? How can I find my Dharma? I get it. And it's not incorrect, but it's really missing the point, because Dharma literally means truth. So you might say, okay, well then, what's my truth? But in the highest sense, Dharma isn't your Dharma or your truth, just like it's not your gravity or your air or your light. It's not your sun. You see this difference? Just like this is not your body. That sounds kind of crazy, right? Of course it's my body. No. This body belongs to this earth. Literally, it's made of the earth. And Dharma, the wisdom of the cosmos, and the truth of the wisdom of the cosmos, which is kind of what Dharma is, gave you, your true self, your true nature, a body, so that you could incarnate and evolve. So just like it's not your gravity and your sun, it's not your body, because your body is not you. Your body is part of the earth. It came from the earth. But why did you get this body at this time and not another body? Well, that's based on something called karma. Dharma and karma are the knife edge of spirituality. Karma means your actions, what produced this body and this tendency to see things the way you, the individual jiva, sees it, is called karma, which means your past actions. The actions you have taken in your past lives converge and created this lifetime. And astrology is the science of understanding exactly what that karma was, not just the actions, but the mentality, literally the psychology and the level of awareness and consciousness that produced this body, and that gives you this frame of reference. Because as you know, even though there's a myriad of life experiences, it all kind of feels the same to you, doesn't it? This happens, you sort of look at it that way. That happens, you look at it that way. Even though everything is going on and other people are seeing it other ways, you see it the way you see it, because all of those experiences are filtered through this matrix of identity, separate identity, that you call you. And the problem is you're attached to that, and you think that is you on some level. Now, you've heard stories and you believe the other stuff I'm saying. You believe that you're actually a universal being who's incarnated and all that. You believe that, but you don't live that. You don't live that authentically. You live the other thing. Somebody comes running at you with a knife, and you fight to protect this. We all do. Someone insults something that you did, your actions. That was stupid. What's wrong with you doing that? And immediately they're insulting you, because you're attached to this separate self. And it's karma, and it's the actions that you keep performing that either untangle that matrix, or that helps to disengage your soul from the matrix, or further deepens it. And so what happens is we descend from that point of Dharma and that point of cosmic oneness. Based on our karma, when we incarnate, the universal energies, as shown through the planets and other astrological factors, interact with Maya to create the ego. This is, and that then filters down and produces a form. At some point then, this karma creates a physical body and a nervous system and circumstances, like your family that you were born into and all of that, to give you and to deliver the experiences that you need to have in order to evolve and understand what you need to understand. All of this unfolds because of Dharma, because of cosmic wisdom. You didn't do any of it. And you can't do any of it. You can't create all of this. It's Dharma which creates it through all of the cosmic principles. That's what Dharma actually is. Right? And karma is the law that enforces Dharma. Meaning, the action you put forth is going to come back as an experience so that you can evolve it. But then once we descend into form, now we're in it. Now we're in this heaviest level of experience, because we need to have tangible experiences in this world of consequences, in this world of form, because there are certain experiences and karmas and evolutionary processes that can only happen with a physical body. There are some that happen in the dream state. There are some that happen in other states. But know this, because you've incarnated with a body on Earth at this time, there are experiences, usually very extreme experiences of pleasure and pain and conflict and resolution that you can only learn, that the illusion you're under can only be unwound here on Earth. And our karma accelerates very quickly on Earth, especially in this age where there's a lot of contrast between light and dark. It's not a punishment to be born. It's not a punishment to come to Earth and deal with hardship. In fact, there are stories where saints, not saints, but celestial beings like sages, like Sage Narada and these other sages, pray to be born at a time where there's difficulty, because in the easier yugas, there's not as much contrast, so your karma doesn't accelerate so quickly. It's said to be a blessing to be born in a difficult time, because you make rapid progress. You have to, just like in your life. It's those moments of real hardship where you actually grow. When things are easy, we just fall asleep and enjoy it. This is because our life is being filtered through the senses. Once we incarnate into form, then we're prone to the 5 elements of the body, the 3 gunas of nature. And we then process things through the senses, and there's pleasure and pain and temptation and desire. All of these things, now we're very far away from Dharma. Not that those things don't have their own Dharma. There's the Dharma of each element in its pure form is pure God energy and pure Dharma. The purity of earth, the Dharma of earth can be seen in a mountain. It's totally solid. When you can emulate the Dharma of earth, you're totally still. The Dharma of water is totally flowing and totally receptive. It receives everything, rejects nothing. That's the Dharma of water. The Dharma of fire is pure clarity, illumination, light, warmth. That's the Dharma of fire. The Dharma of air is movement, coolness, idea, speed, right? But we experience it very differently. For us, the Dharma of earth, it can be attachment. The Dharma of emotion is, or of water is emotion and feeling. The Dharma of fire is aggression, me. The Dharma of air is, I'm sorry, not the Dharma of air, but the emotion or the experience of air. The experience of those dharmic principles through our ego and through our separateness are these things. So we're not connected to the Dharma of the elements when we're filtering it through this matrix of the senses. We're connected to the extremes and the doshas of the elements. Attachment, excessive emotion, aggression, spaciness. So Dharma is everything in its purest form, the wisdom of the cosmos that has created all of this. You haven't created any of it. You don't know how any of this works. You don't know how any of this is created. You just happen to find yourself here, and then, like an animal stuck in a net, we're ensnared by the senses, by worldly experiences, and literally by the separateness and matrix of the ego. And our experiences on earth is to try to untangle this web of senses and emotions and all of the disturbances that our karma, which is what creates the ego, has put between the purity of these elements and gunas and planetary essences and how we experience them. Because we experience them through all this limitation, but their pure nature is dharmic. So these are the things that I'm going to unwind in the Spiritual Secrets of Astrology class. And I use the system of Kashmir Shaivism as an overarching philosophical and evolutionary structure, because it goes all the way up to the unembodied state, the non-localized state, where all energy is in balance and pure Dharma is there. There is that level of Dharma. What is that? If you don't know it, then you don't understand, and we can understand it. You can understand it. This is what these great Vedic teachings are. And Kashmir Shaivism and that dharmic quality filters down through those pure tattvas of non-duality, where it's that state of oneness, to the pure impure tattvas, which is when Maya starts to interact based on our karma. Maya starts to create this experience that we have, but it's still in the unembodied subtle realm, more like you would say the psychological realm. That's where our karma really first starts. Then that filters down into the dual state. Once we're born, we're in duality. This is why non-duality is hard to manage once we incarnate. It just becomes a philosophy, and at a very high point, then we start to get close to the non-dual state. But people who argue for non-duality, it's a conundrum, because we're already in duality. You can't argue for non-duality because the argument is already dual. So the non-dual state is once we separate, then we're in this world of light, shadow, ideas, and everything distinct, including us. We're already separate. We are already dual. Identifying with the physical body and separate emotions is the non-dual state. And so Sankhya philosophy, which is related to Ayurveda and yoga and Jyotish, works there. But the Kashmir Shaivism also talks about that dual state. So I'm going to talk about all of that, not just in itself, but related to astrological principles of the sun, moon, planets, also nakshatras, houses, the whole kind of matrix, and how you can see the astrological practice and the astrological principles first, and then how those principles come into practice through this lens of spirit descending into form based on dharmic principles and legislated by karma. Karma is the great sort of taskmaster. It brings everything into equilibrium. There is no external God punishing us in this way of seeing the world. Karma and the suffering of ignorance is the punishment, meaning the fact that you identify with this separateness is the punishment. The more you identify with this separate matrix, trapped in the web of the senses, that is the punishment. There is no need for a God to send you to hell. Reincarnating over and over again to keep coming back to experience that pain, quote, is the punishment, but it's not punishment. It's not even punishment. It's simply cause and effect. Just like the nature of fire is to burn. Fire doesn't punish you for putting your hand in it. It's not punishing you. It's just that's its nature. And you better learn its nature or you're going to keep putting your hand in it and getting burned. But see, with physical elements, we learn the lesson very quickly because, that burns. I know the nature of that. But see, we don't know the nature of Dharma and karma, and we keep getting burned by it. We think that, for instance, enjoying someone else's pain because they deserved it, and we enjoy watching them suffer because they deserved it and they did something wrong, is going to burn us at some point. If you enjoy seeing someone suffer, that's because you see them as separate from you. And you think, well, they deserved it, yeah. But see, a great saint doesn't enjoy seeing anyone suffer because other people's suffering is their suffering, because they realize we're the same thing. Suffering is painful, for example. So understanding the larger dharmic, cosmic principle behind why we've incarnated, what the true nature is, what we're stuck in here on earth, and how astrology is the science of unraveling that, is going to be the theme of the spiritual secrets of Vedic astrology. Because again, that's what Vedic astrology is for. At least the way I practice it. And it doesn't exclude making predictions and helping with your daily life, but that's the very mundane level. The real benefit and reason to understand astrology is because it's the science that teaches this thing I'm telling you right now. And it's the only one that really teaches it. Now, don't get me wrong, Kashmir Shaivism and, these other philosophical structures that are in the Upanishads and Vedas, especially, and later shown in the Puranic texts like the Gita and Ramayana and whatnot, they also illustrate the principles. But what astrology does is make it real and tangible and specific. What are the specific qualities of karma? What are the specific energies within you? You are an amalgam of all of these spiritual principles, but what are they? Well, they're known by the planets, the nakshatras, and the specifics of how our karma descends from this place of equilibrium and dharma to give us the exact experience we need at the exact time in this perfect realm and platform for us to evolve what we need to evolve. That's why you're here. There's no mistakes. You don't know any better. Nothing's unfair. So the class is almost full. You want to register if it's still available. I don't know when you're seeing this video, but it'll be excellent, and I look forward to unfolding this for you.